why I won't be going to the office because for why? I want to get away with this.
Yes.
And it's just like, why are we going to the office? Why are we in here? But I do enjoy using other people's AC when I go in the store.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Yes. Yes. All
I'm
day
just like,
long.
what? I
And you
don't
be
have
like,
to pay for this?
right? Or you might be like, why is it that this AC don't feel like the AC in my house? Like,
Listen, you know what I was just telling my mom the other day? I said I miss Saks Fifth Ave AC. That thing feel like a freezer. The one that's on the one that's on Fifth Avenue in New York. My God, so good, so good.
That's that
But
classy. Yeah, I can see that.
listen, that's that AC that make you want to spend money? Spend all your
No,
money here, please.
it is crazy because now that we're having this conversation, I do remember like being in Florida as a youngin, and like going to stores just for the AC. Like you'd be out on the bus or something like
Yeah.
that. You'd be like, man, let's go to Best Buy. And be like, that's a great idea.
Yes.
Yeah, that was it.
damn.
That was the move.
Can I
How do
help
we
you with
survive?
something? Absolutely not.
That's, but that's what I'm saying. Like, how do we survive that? Like that kind of heat
Let
as
me tell you
children.
something. No, Eruth. This sun is different. Our sun was never this hot. Our
I don't.
son, when we was children, had class. This son don't got no class.
Wait, you know what? You are right though, because okay, let's to a certain level. I'll say to a certain degree, because I remember one summer, me and my sisters went up to Maryland to my sister to go stay by my sisters for a little bit, and we my sister used to work on a military base, and one
Yeah.
day I don't know why we had this bright idea, but we was like, hey, instead of us waiting for us to get a ride, why don't we just walk? But it was so hot, like everybody knows that story to this day. Like we don't talk about nothing else about camp except for that hot ass day. We walked miles because somebody's silly ass idea was like, we're gonna make it. It was like I've never felt any kind of heat like that until maybe we moved to Georgia. But like that heat was like it was like it humidity was like not even it was just hot. Like the sun wanted to like you wanted you to like not exist. That kind of it was just on another level. It was almost aggressive, like disrespectful, like child abuse. Like who let the planet get like this? Why is my life like this, guys? It's just Earth. Why can't? And then hold on a minute. I saw that this guy on. Y'all probably saw it too. This guy has this machine that he can take air and make it into water. Did y'all
Yeah,
see that?
I saw that. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I was like, so first of all, I'm watching the show, The Man Who Fell Down to Earth, and I'm like being so inspired, but like, yes,
I
one day
want
we
to
will
watch
make
that.
it. Girl, watch it. I'm not gonna say nothing else about it. I'm done. That's it. That's it. That's it.
I want to
Okay.
watch that.
It is like it just makes you think about how far behind we are as just we just need to get it together. Let's just get it together. And speaking of, we're talking about this tonight because you and I remember back a couple weeks ago, Shan, we had this conversation and we was already
Yeah.
talking about it like, y'all, it's already here. You might as well just go ahead and try to figure out ways to make it work. Like you have your podcast, you talk about all these behaviors and all this stuff for a really long time. And people are looking at it like they're so, oh my gosh. And it's like, listen, you're going to have to learn how to fight, but you're also going to have to learn how to adapt. And
Mm-hmm.
then you got to decide what kind of system you want to conform to. That's just where we're at right now. We're just at the
Yeah.
place right now. There's no
Yeah.
like,
Unfortunately.
yeah, there's no crying. Yeah. So,
Now
uh,
thinking about it
yeah.
though. Just sorry to break you. Just to
No, go
throw
ahead.
this
Jump
in
in
there.
anytime.
Um, it'll abortion would be illegal, right? But it's still gonna
Mm-hmm.
happen. It's still gonna go on. There's gonna be like 1,000
Exactly.
Dr. Brian's that show up, and it's just gonna be an underground market where you have to pay $5,000 for an abortion in some shady hotel,
Mm-hmm.
and that's just the way I guess they wanted it. But it's gonna be here. It's not going
Which
anywhere.
Yeah, rich, wealthy people, these what happened today does not apply to them because they
No.
feel like
Yeah.
their money gives them the room to call their doctor friend that they come over
Mm,
to have
mm,
drinks
Mm-hmm.
to. You know
mm,
what? Let me
So.
come see you Friday,
mm,
for that checkup,
Mm-hmm.
mm.
Um, but middle class people, people that's, poverty, if they miss a check of work, they don't have these options. And that's why this is a physical health risk,
Yeah.
to some people. It's a financial burden
Yeah.
to some people. And I know a lot of people who are like, yes, finally people will have some responsibility. I feel like that is a perspective of it if you want to think about it that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at the same time, this is one of those things where you can't look at it one-sided.
Yeah.
And a
That's
lot of people who are cheering and happy about this, they're looking at it one-sided because they're thinking of what their values are and their standards, how this falls into that. But you're not thinking of, hey, if I'm a dad and I have two sons, and then, I maybe meet a woman I want to marry and we have a daughter, and she's off at college and she gets raped,
yeah.
am I really going to look her in the eye and say, legally by law, you have to carry that baby?
Yeah.
Am I
Yeah.
really going to look her in the eye and say, medically, we know that she's not supposed to carry a child, and if she gets pregnant, this could possibly kill her? Am I supposed to look her in the eye and be like, no, I'm not traveling to another state so you can not have this be a possibility? You're gonna have to see this through, and we're gonna pray for the best. And the
Yeah.
reality is, you
Yeah.
won't. And a lot of people don't want to see the other side to this because it doesn't apply to them as of right now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so true. And I think this is the part of it that I don't think people understand. Like, you can talk about like, I feel like I can still talk about abortion to say that I do not like the idea of, yes, to me, and I know this is going to be always going to feel like it's an extreme, but to me, I always recognize it as, yes, there is a termination of life. We can talk about whatever scale it is. I cannot ignore that if uninterrupted, what would be the end result? Would be a child, obviously, but that is not enough. It's not enough for people to be able to say, like, okay, we have to go and take away this right, well, take away this option, and we're not going to look at anything that has any positives. We're not going to look at the current system. We're not going to look at anything to address anything. We're just going to just, I don't know, just just knock everything over, y'all. Just put the what thing ain't on fire yet. Like, are they trying to that? Like, what are to me, it feels like, who's trying to get us to Armageddon fast? Like, what is happening here?
Right.
It is a reversal of this whole, like, we're really moving into the Wild West, where culturally we'll have people that vote for vote to strip away rights, abortion rights, but then vote for not having gun control. So essentially, like, America as a whole would rather have bullets and babies than an abortion. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's
Right.
as long as you die, as long as you die by the bullet, it's okay because we're the Wild West. But anything scientific or just any kind of breakthrough in just our modern way of life is just has to be stripped away. Like, and just it's tough out here for women. Like, women, like, y'all rights are just, y'all might as well not even fight anymore or challenge anymore, because it's just, I'm not saying that
You,
literally, but
you know what I
it's
feel like? If
it's
it
bleak.
is, it feels like the people that were born 1950 and earlier, I feel like they feel threatened by the minds of today so much that they're like, well, fuck. We can't bring slavery back. So what can we do before we die? We can make them have babies. Let's make them have babies. And even if You know, they're so used to having what do they call it now? They call it what do they call it? You know, where they have their little sneaky links. No more sneaky links. Let's take the sneaky links. No, I'm just like, why can't y'all just die in peace? Your
I
time is over.
know.
Your time is over. Your daddy's gone. Your daddy's so used to buying people and
Yeah,
buying a wife and telling her when to get in the room and when to cook for him. And you can't do that no more. People
yeah,
have the space and the time to make choices. And you
yeah,
hate the fact that people have room to make choices.
yeah,
It's legacy, and you know, people, especially old people, especially the old people this generation, they love that. They love to leave that legacy, and that's like their whole thing. Like I only have a few years left on this earth, and I'm gonna fight and leave a legacy. So I
But
know
you
that
don't
I.
have no more nut left, sir. Your kids,
yeah,
your
yeah.
nuts are not swimming anymore, sir. They're dusty. It's full of dust in there. So you're not procreating. Your wife is not procreating. So who you forcing to procreate? Your granddaughters? Your great
Yeah,
Yeah,
granddaughters?
yeah.
yeah.
They're
With the
leaving
with
them
the with the
the
men, with the
legacy
old
of
men.
yeah.
Yeah, with the old man. And okay, so in Missouri, right, this is the domino effect. This all these like were aligned up together. All these little marriage laws that they're trying to do now. Look at that. They're trying to. They said that they're even trying to
Married
roll.
children.
Well, that and they're trying to roll back the loving case with the what is it, misogyny, whatever the name, miscegenation or whatever, when black people and white people they
Hmm.
said they couldn't be married together. They're trying to get
Hmm.
that in the court right now. That's yes to your point. They want the children who could the female children who are shockingly and like a horror story seeing their period for the first time to find a husband. It doesn't matter how dusty all those sperms are in there. They're like, he's got one. And if he ain't got one, the doctor got one. The Handmaid's Tale, y'all ain't paying attention.
Yes.
Okay. Now, when
Yeah.
people said that, I didn't really get that. I kind of was like, all right, we're being a little dramatic. But then I'm like, damn, yo, they really plotted this out. Like, they made it happen, y'all. They manifested. This,
I mean, they did give us the Handmaid's Tale that was been around in the book for many years, and they made it a movie, and it was on the second season, and we waiting for the third season. And
girl,
my thing is like this: they basically saying to women, if you have to die to possibly bring about one more life, it was worth it.
are they
Yeah.
though? Do you think that they really care about that? Think about it.
That's my. I'm saying that because they don't.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's kind of like for every child that is born in the United States gets money, right?
Yep.
So they're basically telling women today, if you have a vagina, regardless of what you want to do with it, regardless of what you think you can do with it, as long as you have a birth certificate here and a social security card and you want to work in order to make some type of living,
Yeah.
your punani belongs to social security.
Yes.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
And that's the thing about it because
Cash cow for real.
it
It's
is.
crazy.
I don't know. It's just it to me it smells like the same nonsense we've been going through like since like the start of this country. It's just the same thing, the same battle for how many of us can we make so we can keep this shit. And it's like
Yeah.
you're sir, you're losing this battle. Yes, your granddaughter is already. She's already said she don't want to see y'all no more. She all up in the play, all up wherever the black folks is at. That's where she's at because they
And
already
she's having
can.
mixed babies, and then the mixed
Yes,
babies having mixed babies.
And they
I
hate
mean,
it.
they
yeah,
can't.
yeah.
They can't take it.
And
They can't.
even for women, for women who are doing their best to not have children for whatever reasons they choose to not have children because they deserve that right. Because the same people that's telling you you shouldn't have abortions are the same people that are saying if you have a child and you cannot afford to take care of it, we don't want to help you.
Yep.
Hmm.
which makes no sense because it's a complete contradiction. But
Hmm.
for the same reasons a woman chooses to wait, the world and the government is telling her you don't have that choice if you deserve to have sex. And
Mm.
there's some states that's trying to take condoms off the shelves. So you're basically
Yeah,
saying
contraception
if I have to
is
risk
yeah.
if I have to risk getting an STD or HIV, if it brings about a baby and more money in this country that we're not going to use for the people in this country, it's worth it.
Yeah,
That's madness.
contraception is next on the chopping board, and that's gonna be the fun part right there.
You basically gonna have drug
That's the
dealers
purge, like right. That's the
selling
purge, like
weed,
that's it.
Molly, and Plan B. What you want?
Yep. Yep. But maybe that's like the
Straight
maybe
up,
that's
straight up, straight up.
it does make me wonder like what interest do they have in like the domino effect of all of this, like who has stock in what company. Do we need to pay attention again and be like, so you really just set this up? So because it feels like 2008 again, but like different, 2008 I felt like they set that up. They knew that it was coming. They knew that all the financial stuff was going to happen, and they was out there like, yo, when that shit goes down, yo, you know what I mean, you're never
I
ever
feel
have to think about money again in your life. Like it was
I feel
a
like it's
that's the pandemic, was that 2008 recession. And I feel like right now it's the same type of thing. It's like, what can we get, what kind of greed, what kind of capital can we make off of the misery of people, because it's gonna
when you
get some
when you
miserable type of shit.
when you look at this, you have to look at it as all the laws playing out. Remember, they
Yeah.
just they just did a ruling that if you are in jail for a crime and there's new evidence that shows that you are innocent, as long as you're already in jail, that doesn't you can't do shit with that.
Mm.
So what they're doing is they're creating new slaves. These
Yes.
private prisons are being backed by your
Yeah.
electric bill company, your
Yes.
car insurance company. They're making money off of this. So it's a way on the back end that all of
Mm-hmm.
these Fortune 500 companies, one that I work for, go into these private meetings and they make a percentage off of these private prisons with free labor.
Mm-hmm.
And imagine someone knowing in the world knowing this person is innocent, but there is a federal law that stops you from presenting any logical evidence that this person is innocent. You can't do shit with it. We got him already. You snooze, you lose, right? And then you're gonna have all these women having children that they can't take care of. And where do children that you can't take care of go? Into the system.
Yeah.
Where do children that aren't treated correctly usually end up going?
Yep.
Into
Prison.
juvenile court,
Yep.
juvenile jail. Then
Yep.
you have adult jail, depending on what state you live in, and it's basically a fund to keep up the numbers of who they're going to have in these private prisons.
Yeah.
Because if for me as a mom, if I get to a point where I can't afford a house, my kids aren't going to school, the school's not making money, so the school's going to send some police to my house and be like, where are your kids at? Why they're not going to school? Okay, you can't take care of them. We're going to have to put them in the system. Whatever happens to them in the system, they end up where they end up it, who they end up with, and they might, out of a certain percentage, either make it out and make a living for themselves or end up in a prison system. And all of it is to fund their their corporate system, how they make money off of people by free labor.
No, you're right about that. And I think that this is where the fight needs to come in. Like, you can resist by not by saying, anybody could resist by saying, I'm not going to do what it takes to make you continue to do what you do. I'm not going to shop at your whatever. I'm not going to do this. And I know a lot of times that happens, everybody's like, well, if you do that, then it's going to cost people their jobs, and they're going to cost this, and they're going to cost that. Well, we have a government for a reason, okay? And whenever some shit does go down, there are different ways that you can get government assistance. I already know because we went through the exact same thing. If there's not government assistance, there is organizations that will help you. So people who are going through like real stuff that they absolutely cannot control should definitely just brace yourself to go through it. Like, it's going to be okay. What you don't want to do is go up out here acting like you got what these people who keep us in these conditions have, which is a overwhelming greed, an abundance of wealth that is actually on the spectrum of greed. There's just no way that
Right.
you can this billions. How are you one person, just one, and you got like $6 billion, $8 billion? Where is that actually end up going? Because you did not get that just by yourself. And I know that there's people who say, well, you know what, nobody should have to take care of other people. I have a whole bunch of family that be like, hell no, nah, these people got to take care of themselves. They're right. They are absolutely
Mm-hmm.
right. However, the way that this shit is set up, as you just said, it is set up to be just like that. There will be always somebody that will be a slave. There's always somebody that will be a criminal. There's always somebody that's going to commit a crime enough to be doing some kind of time. Like, that is just the way that this country is set up. And the crazy thing about it is that we have all these people just sleep at the wheel because they don't want to deal with it. There's a people that's like, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm in church and everything's fine. It's like, you in church, that's fine, but what's happening? Okay, you
Right.
stay blessed. That's fine, girl. You stay blessed all day. But there's a whole city that's just not, and we not gonna make it. And your blessing and you staying blessed is cute and everything. But are you getting in line to do something with us? Are we trying to? What are we gonna do? Because you can't be cute forever. That's all this stuff that's happening. Like, okay, I saw this TikTok today. It wasn't a TikTok. It was on somebody's page. I've been going back and forth about no since yesterday. This little
Mm-hmm.
girl who has like little the lip gloss on, like I guess it's a filter and makeup, and she's like flicking
Mm-hmm.
her tongue out and she's blowing a kiss. She's probably like 4, and I mean full makeup. And so I'm
Mm-hmm.
just like, this is what we're focusing on. Like, this of all the things we have time to be worried about. We have this is not even this child's parent. This is this child's older sister, and
Mm-hmm.
she's just posting pictures of, like, we already know what's going on with this whole child abuse, sex trafficking thing. Why is it that people are not aware enough to be like, you know what, there's a certain type of way that you can show your child, and as an adult, that's probably not the best way. And this, I mentioned this because there are people that completely they just miss it when it comes down to having standards for our children, because the whole situation is full of chaos. And you have people that are out here defending stuff that really, when you think about it, it's really sad to see, like, to see that the fact that there are Black people who will see children behaving in a way that should not be, children should not be, not because they're doing it on their own, but because an adult, another person who should have the sense to not just promote this child in this makeup, knowing that there's people online that will take that information and they will sell it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they do. So you have people just distracted with all this other stuff, and you're like, what are y'all doing? Like, first of all, be in the house and do what you need to do with your kids. That's fine. You can share. There's nothing wrong with us sharing our children. There is definitely something wrong with us dressing our children up like adults. Or there's another case where I saw that people were taking their kids. You see all the time, Kodak Black having his son slap some woman's behind, and the culture's like, that's so cute. No, it's not cute. It's not. These are the problems we have. This is why there are some people that absolutely, if whatever the percentage is, 27%, 30 something percent of abortions had gone through. And I'm not saying I either for or against. I just said, get out the way. People got to make their decisions. That's just what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And when you
Mm-hmm.
have people, the community devolving into all of this other foolishness and this chaos, and we have literally the Supreme Court saying, "Hey guys, you don't have to ask for permission to just get that AR-5015 if you want to, and this is state that lets you have whatever gun you want. Just go and Yeah, sure. People don't have a right to be afraid of you. Your gun's not intimidating to be out here, just out here. It's like every generation. It's almost like I don't know. It feels like madness. That's just like people are shaking their head. It's okay. I know it feels like madness. It's okay. It's fine. What do you? It's fine. It's like it's not fine. None of this is fine. The world is going through a process of some good things that are happening, some eye-opening things. I did also read that all these big companies, I think Disney is a whole bunch of companies that are going to get together and they're going to fight out these states that are trying to, who are going to want to make Roe v. Wade or whatever, make abortions illegal. That's what that I didn't expect that to read that there was any corporations that do that, but at the same time,
Because a lot of corporate, we got to get these messages in a second.
yeah,
A lot of these corporate companies understand that, well, fuck, if Susan has a great night on Friday, in the next 2 months she might fuck up the next 2 months at this time because she gonna be pregnant and she's gonna actually use the maternity leave, and we gonna have to pay
Mhm.
this hoe. Like, they
yes,
understand
yes,
that that women having the possibility to be pregnant is going to take away from
the
my
business,
growth eventually.
yes,
And look how many women I have working for me. You know what I'm saying? And so people understand that company. That's why Tesla was one of the companies in Texas that was paying their employees more to relocate them, their women,
mm,
so they can have the option of having abortion, since Texas was like, absolutely not.
Wow.
wow,
That's a company that understands what
yeah,
a loss it would be if this woman has to leave a job because she needs to take care of a child.
yep, yep,
And it's just like insurance. You pay insurance every month, but let some disaster happen, or something pop up. You think them insurance companies want you calling them to help pay?
nope.
They don't. They
They make
don't want you to have to need the money you've been paying. They don't. That's
they
how
make
they make
you
money.
hoops. They make you jump through so many hoops just to get
Yes.
what you already pay for.
Listen, it's a thing. I'm gonna play these messages.
Yeah,
So looking at the title, Silent Part of Abortion Debate, I really just want to say to the people that are actually having this conversation is all over social media, different platforms, from Clubhouse to Instagram to Facebook Live. I mean, shoot, I know somebody right now that has a full-blown Zoom dealing with this, and it's really funny. It's funny to me how Americans, black, white, I don't think the Asians are talking about this, to be honest with you. But it's funny how Americans, average Americans, are talking about this as if they didn't know they didn't have any freedoms. They didn't know they didn't have any rights. That these people are going to continue to show y'all that they're going to do what they want to do when they want to do it, and the only thing that y'all going to do is talk about it on social media, and then go back to doing your regular jobs and living your nice lives, right? Because you really don't value anything but your personal life. Yeah.
I'd like to hear the
That's
rest.
interesting. I'm gonna play the rest.
Yeah,
And as it pertains to what's happening in the United States of America, I really want to say this. This is a republic, right? And you know who I fault for allowing this to happen? The people.
yes,
The people are the problem, not the politicians or the people who are in higher or the higher ups. Nah, nah. The people don't have enough courage to step out on what's supposed to be valuable and do what's right. No, the people are too invested in their own personal lives. I mean, they see what's happening. It may interest them. It may come across their mind, but it's not really something that you really value. You're too invested into your jobs, your businesses, your investments, taking a vacation next week, you know what I'm saying? You probably got a
hmm,
cruise going around the world. Those things are more important, the shiny objects.
yeah.
So, I mean, this is just the talk of the town for today. In a couple of hours, shoot, something else will come up and be the talk of the.
No, I agree with that. I do agree with that. That is where we're
And
at.
yeah, and for me, it falls down to just Americans having the luxury of participating politically for representation, right? Like we can do all these things and spend all this times uh, for ourselves, for our family, doing whatever, and just take a small little time to vote in somebody that'll actually represent us, and that usually works, right? Because I mean, this really boils down to certain conservative Supreme Court justices that's been voted in
Mm,
by the president at the time. So it's a culmination, right? So that's something tangible where you can point to and say this is actually a politically induced problem that we're going through. So as Americans, we talk it through, and hopefully we change some minds to for some people to vote certain people in and have a republic.
Um, this is my thing with what he said in this second message. Our our lives on a day to day, are they set up for us to pay attention and give it time?
mm,
Our lives on a day to day with what we have on our plates, do we get time to really dig in? Unless we are making enough money to work one job
mhm,
to take care of all our needs and have enough time to spend in a balanced way with all of our children and be able to take care of ourselves in a healthy way where we can afford to take care of ourselves mentally, physically, emotionally in a healthy way. And I'm saying this and emphasizing our day to day because the people who can set aside, no, I'm not going to work today. I'm going to stand at this poll and I'm going to do my vote because I could afford to miss today's work to be able to vote on something more important. Because I'm honestly going to say yes, it is very important to know who's dictating what happens in your environment, what happens with the food that comes on your plate, what happens with the school that your children go to, but always the people who can afford to tell a corporation no so they can take care of their own needs will always win. And the people who can afford to be like, no, I'm not going to go to work, I'm going to do this. No, I'm not going to go to the office today, I'm going to take care of this paperwork because in the long run this is going to help me and my family and my community. A lot of people don't live that life. So the benefit that a lot of people who do live that life have is the fact that we can keep the people that don't have the type of life and the opportunities that I have, we could keep them in a distraction. And the distraction is TV, the distraction is the internet, the distraction is social media, the distraction is songs, the distraction is celebrity gossip, and then everybody else who has the intellect, the education, the know-how, the wisdom, somebody that was wiser than them taught them the fundamentals of life and what they need to pay attention to, how they need to set up their family. They get further ahead in shit like this and topics like this than the majority do.
mhm,
And I say that because that's an overall issue. The overall issue is the reason why certain families and certain cultures don't have this conversation is because they have a different standard and a different culture of upbringing where this is not a problem for them because their grandmothers, their fathers, their mothers, their aunts, everybody in their family lived a different lifestyle and culture where they were more family oriented. They were more, let's lay out a better foundation for us, for our
mhm,
community than United States Americans. And the
mhm.
United States has always profited off of keeping the people that live here distracted so they could do fuck shit.
That's true. That's true. And I think that that's where it comes in for people to be paying attention. Like, okay, there's this whole thing right now about being woke. Like they're finally having a conversation of how the word woke got co-opted, appropriated, all this other stuff. Because I keep listening to the definition and I'm like, no. When I think about woke, I think about movies that like really educated me on some deep rooted shit like School Days, like with colorism. I did not even understand like, okay, so that is another form of a problem within the community. Like, okay, so we got to battle that out too, right? Like that was like, okay, do the right thing. When you got to see like, okay, there is even in New York, these people are racist. Like I remember watching that and thinking like, I'm in the South. I'm thinking that this was just a Southern thing, but that woke me up to the fact, no, this is a long-standing systemic problem, and now that is still a problem, but now it's in another realm of like vanity, like everywhere, like everybody just wants to be able to have like just a level of attention on them, right? For good
Mm,
reasons and for other reasons, right? Because there's some good reasons of you have a mission, you have a plan, you have something that you have direction, you have that's completely different than the people who are just sort of like aimless, the ones that are part of the distraction, right? Like the
mm.
metaverse. I'm like, what? Okay. So finally I saw what that was and I was like, why does a black man like Snoop Dogg have spent millions of dollars in a space that's empty, that's nothing? It's just literally zeros and ones and dots and all sorts of foolishness. It's not even a
Because
real world.
he lives in a realm where he's in the conversation and discussions of white money. And white money is the equivalent of jumping on what's new and hot before the regulars get it. And by the time the regulars get it, I'll have enough money invested where I could pull out of this shit.
Well, there you go. And that is why we are stuck in the certain situation, because you have people who's supposed to be okay. If you make it, like I do want to see like black boy joy, black girl joy. I want to see that all the time, all the time.
Mm.
But what I also want to see is while we're doing that all the time, that we're also still being woke and conscious and saying we're drawing attention to things that are important that otherwise I would not have known. If I had not had any exposure to a lot of these black voices, I would not know half of the things that I really should have known. That I'm so glad that somebody cares enough to be able to have the balance of yes, looking nice, feeling good and all the other stuff, but also making sure like we still are on a mission. Like this stuff it's never, nobody's going to come and do this for us. We have to be at the front of the line, all on the front lines all the time. We don't have time for no rest. We don't have no time for no, I want to just relax for a little bit. Okay, do that, get it in, and then start consuming information to know what's going on in the world around you so that you can be better prepared. So when we do have a situation like, what did I see the other day? I saw this woman, a police officer was knocking on, was had his foot in this woman's door and was basically like, "Let me come in." And she was like, "Listen, you can't come here without a warrant." And he just kept his
Hmm.
foot in the door, and she was like, "Listen, I'm not opening the door." He kept his foot right there. But just the
Hmm.
fact that we live in a country that claims that everybody is so free that all you need to know is the law, that is enough. But it's not enough, because if people are not participating in getting people to do something about the law, then just knowing the law is not good enough. This is why we're in the situation that we're in right now, is because a lot of people were like, you know what? I'm checked out because I'm trying to just finally check in and be able to like catch up. And it's like, what are you catching up to? You're catching up to
Hmm.
the Gucci's of the world. You're catching up to the, like, yes, those people did what they did. They stole in order to have what they have. I'm not.
Well,
I'm.
that's the Ruth. That's the problem right there. They don't even want to admit that they stole.
That's true too.
They're basically doing things to erase the truth about history so it can repeat itself.
Yeah, that's true. But
We
that's why
got
we're.
one more message from
Yeah,
we
yeah.
got one more message and I'm up and then we can continue.
And you know what? I just wanted to say this, man. Because I love the fact that they have prisons that you can invest in on the stock market. That's incredible. Because the one thing I do know is that crime has never stopped.
Right.
Crime is what makes, shoot, it's like war. It makes a lot of us money. And listen, being in this country and understanding how it works, I love privatized prisons. I mean, you can actually invest into it. And that's one thing about that thing, one about these privatized prisons. Yeah, the market may go down and fluctuate, but crime, well, that thing ain't going nowhere. It may drop a little bit here and there, but that's one thing we know for a fact, that in these inner cities, guess what? Oh man, it's just a breeding ground for criminals. from the time they come out the womb. So that's a recession-proof investment right there.
Okay. All right. That whole message right there is a perfect example of seeing shit one sided.
Yeah.
He's saying private prisons are a perfect investment. You can invest in it. Of course you can. But what's the flip side of that? The flip side is they're spending more money making private prisons so corporations and people out here who are educated to know how it works makes money, and less money making schools and providing a lifestyle for families to make sure their children don't end up in those prisons. So you're
And then
basically saying
yeah,
you're basically saying let's not educate the children. Let's not give parents time to spend with their children and guide their children and protect their children. And let's allow life to life, and let's flood these private prisons so we can make money because that's important. But we're going to turn around and chastise middle class people and poor people for not teaching their kids better.
Hmm.
But the way that you have us out here having to live and pay for houses we can't afford because you won't put no regulation on that shit either. I can't be home to guide my child. I can't be home to make sure my child doesn't do X, Y, and Z. I can't send my child to school for 8 hours of the day and them not learn shit because they don't have the budget or they don't have the
Hmm.
proper books or a teacher doesn't want to teach, and then turn around and for the next 4 hours that I get to see my child before they go to sleep, teach them everything they should have learned in those 8 hours. It's not feasible. It's not going to happen, and they
Yeah.
know it's not going to happen. So
But
all of these ingredients is create more bodies to be in these prisons to make them money.
yeah.
and then just to look at the predatory system we have. That's I mean, when you say crime and criminals, a lot of these laws are man-made laws to put people in jail in certain
Exactly.
neighborhoods. So
And why
it's the whole criminal thing is very loose. The word
and
crime
with
can
what you're saying, what you're saying, Kev, is why are they criminals? Why are they stealing? Are they stealing because they have a lot of money and they just want to take yours? Are they stealing because they have enough food for themselves and want to take yours? They're stealing because they don't have it. Why don't they have it? Because the people who have businesses in their communities don't want to hire them.
Yeah.
hmm
And they're also stealing because this country decided that they thought it was good to be able to put money into universities who would study the idea that there are people that are valuable based off of how one set of people believes that they're either inferior or superior. And a lot of people don't realize this, that which is what this is called eugenics. A lot of people don't realize is that eugenics has played such a central role in being able to allow for people to feel like they belong to a group that's more superior than others, and to continue to keep perpetuating these laws that constantly cause these type of conditions. People do not want to see that there is a connection there, because then it means that you really have to pay attention and really actually hold people accountable. And people don't want to do that. It's easy to just be like, well, I don't have time for this today, or I don't have time for that, and I don't have time for this. Well, excuse me, you need to make some time for it, because if you really say that you care about people like this, when I heard that, was like I said, I just thought about like a cannibal, like somebody eating their own. Like I was like, what? Like it was just like what he said just was like, okay, okay, okay. So you do realize that you're talking about slavery. You're talking about being a slave master too? Like you're saying that you don't really care because those not my people. Like I don't those
Right.
people like to kill each other and all this other stereotypical foolishness, as if that crime doesn't happen in white communities. And this is the thing, is that like people don't realize the whole idea of abortion itself is from eugenics. And that was not just for black people. They was out here killing white people too. They was like, no, those people are poor. Those people are going to cause problems within the gene pool. We need to figure out a way to sterilize them and kill them too. Like it was just a couple of white dudes that was just like, this is the way we're going to run this stuff. And they had support by people in the government. And here we are in 2022 going through the exact same thing. And we don't even have the luxury because that type of belief, that type of attitude that he had, which is to basically say that it's okay for us to continue to have the system of desperation and chaos and predators and all kinds of foolishness, no matter which way you look at it, that's okay. Because in the end, everybody has a chance to live the American dream. And if you want to steal, you want to lie, you want to steal, and you want to kill to get it, come on in here. This is Gotham City over here. You can figure we could work this out. Like that's how it feels like to me. And people who get caught up in all these conspiracy theory things, theories, and they're like everything you see in the movies happening. Okay, so are you paying attention to all this stuff that's really really happening? Because if you was, you'd be terrified because they replay the villains in these TV shows or these movies all the time. And they're always stealing people, lying, manipulating, trickery, all this other stuff. And it's been happening over and over and over again. And the thing that bothers me the most is to hear Black people buy into this foolishness. And it's like the information's out here now. Like you don't have to choose
Mm-hmm.
to not know. You could go and know like the rest of us and be like, damn, that's messed up. Okay, I see the patterns. Okay, so what do we need to do about these patterns? Well, what we really need to do about these patterns first is to start holding each other accountable within our community. There is stuff that's going on within the community that you're like, excuse me. We don't have time, Yonsei, to be in Tiffany's 50 $1 trillion diamonds. Okay, man, where were you at when when Sierra Leone was happening? Ma'am, you supposed to know better. You can't keep making all these black songs don't know that much. Come on now. Like I know people feel like with celebrities we should not. It's like yes, I feel like that too. Like let them do what they do. However, these are artists. And the way that these artists are able to be seen and heard is that there are people that go out there and spend their money and buy tickets and go to a show and show those people in numbers how important they are all the time. So if you don't want to do it by politics, you spend your money somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
You could decide, you know what, Beyonce, I'm not trying to boycott. I'm not trying to say that, but I am saying that we have to use our clever to get what we need because those people are influenced too. They all run and rock together in some kind of wealth circle. Not saying that they're bad people. I'm just saying that there's some influence that can be made, and the fact that and this exchange of being in these people's presence, it goes both ways. They want people to come and see them, so when we're not asking them to talk about real issues and they out here just talking about how much you need to be in the commercial with the yellow canary diamond, that we like, girl, what are you doing for us? There's probably 50,000 black jewelers that are trying to get up and running. Where is the cash flow? What about legacy, y'all? I thought y'all said legacy, legacy. Where is it at?
Legacy for them. Legacy for them. You know what I'm saying? Um, Celebrity period is a distraction, and they got bills to pay. And our eyes and our ears and our mouths and our hands make them money. And Beyonce ain't doing shit but taking care of her family and understanding that when life is lifing, people look for the great escape, and the great escape be drugs,
Yeah.
alcohol, and whatever is going to distract me about these people coming to put this eviction notice on my door.
Yep.
Let me dance, dance, dance. And yeah, you can hate the reality of how they play into it, but at the same time, can it's kind of like Obama. It's that Obama shit. Can we put the burdens of all black people in the United States on one man?
Right. Right.
You know, can we put the burdens of blackness on one woman? We can't.
Talk about it.
She playing a card, and the card is I gotta feed my family.
Yep.
The United States gonna do what the United States do,
Yep.
and for those who can, you have the option to relinquish your passport and live elsewhere. A lot of people
True.
have been doing that for the past 5 months, moving completely out of this country and living elsewhere because it's starting to make no sense. It's
Yeah.
starting to become a trap. And what has exposed me to how much of a trap it is definitely TikTok. TikTok
Yes.
is one of the TikTok is one of those platforms that's supposed to be for children. But at the same time, even the TikTok creators in China, they use TikTok for educational purposes in
Yeah.
China.
Saw
We
that.
get the version of TikTok where we laugh, we dance, we listen to music, we connect with other people,
Mhm.
doing, stupid, pointless things. And there are still some little educational things on TikTok, but I get to see the world through TikTok. I get to get um, a lot of history taught to me on TikTok. I get to learn the fact that my goddamn pot has a pot holder lid on it, and I did not know
Oh my.
on TikTok. Um, and I listen. I say this to say, look, what you said, Eruth. We can't sit here and be like we didn't know. We have access to too many
Yeah.
resources to say that we didn't know. But what we can say is, I don't care.
That's
What
true.
we can say, what we can say is, I'm gonna die. So, oh well. I'm one person. What can I do? And that's what we've been saying, whether it's intentionally or not intentionally.
I think there's two types of people. Just especially in America, like, right? It's just like you're saying. There's the type of people that we talk about issues. We try to move the needle somehow, some way, move the discussion, move a few rocks so we can all move some mountains, right? And then there's some other people that just fell into the Americanism of just the Wild Wild West, and it's just like, you know what? This is how it's gonna be. This is what it is, and this is I'm here to stay. Let's load up and ride out to the sunset, And
Mm-hmm.
it's just an American thing too, right? Just the diversity of Americans, where some of us are like the most of activists, and some of us are just like here, and
I hope you guys are enjoying this show. Don't forget to check out She Gets It Shop. Okay? She Gets It Shop with Teespring. Of course, I got to drop ship. My life is very like. I won't see me doing trips to the post office. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. No, sir. So if you like what you see on the shop, go ahead and order it. The shirts are very comfortable. Ex Juice from Chillin' with Juice podcast. The mugs are cute. And if you in sweater weather, I'm sure there's a sweatshirt for you. If you like hoodies, there's a hoodie for you. If you just want to support, I appreciate you. But there's merch on there. And also, if you're looking for the books and you want a one-stop shop to get everything, to see everything that I'm in, check out shambypodden.com.
some of us are like ultra
A
cool
body.
and fast, and then some of
Yeah.
us are like ultra dangerous and ultra aggressive. So it's just like we're just so much of everything, but at the same time, we're moving towards the extreme part of it, where it's just the Wild Wild West.
Well, it's funny
Yeah.
because I feel like with what happened, just like on the world stage, was that a lot of countries. Remember, we just came out of like Trump was our president for like those 4 years, and it was just like it literally was like the Wild Wild West. Like it was
Mm-hmm.
just like I almost felt like people were more like just a little. I shouldn't say more free because I don't really mean that, but I do mean that people were louder. It didn't matter what people wanted to say. Everybody was saying what the hell they wanted to say, and nobody's holding back. And people just getting it off their chest, and you're gonna deal with it the way you're gonna deal with it, and that's just what it is. And I do feel like to a certain degree, I can appreciate the fact that whatever generation that was, that basically bred this level of arrogance and confidence to give people all that type of arrogance and confidence to say what was on their mind. And we was like, oh, that's how y'all feel for white people? Oh, excuse me,
Hmm.
what is this? And black people too. I was like, yo, that man has said that man is a cannibal. Like that dude was like, we gonna eat our own. It don't matter. They ain't even our own. That ain't our own. Like whose kids are who's I don't care if that little boy look like my son. Like that he ain't no part of me. And it's like, but are you paying attention to like who they're pulling over when they pull them over? Because some of these people are very wealthy black people. Don't matter.
Hmm.
You're out here feeling like you feel like you are on that level, and you're not. You're only on that level for as long as they're able to use you for the level that they want that they want to stay on. And
Right.
the people, some of these people don't seem to get it because they're just like, I have always dreamt about having a jacuzzi, and it's like, yeah, okay. Why would you want to dream about having a jacuzzi? Like, first of all, it's like a really disgusting place. But second of all, so many other things to want in your life, like land. Why not want land? What's wrong with having some land? Why can't we all get band together and be like, you know what? I don't have time. I don't have time. You know what? Fine. You want to talk to me? That's fine. That's what you don't have to talk to me because I'm trying to save for some land. Okay, that's how
But
you.
that's the problem right there, Eruth. We have the double work every time of asking the question and educating why we're asking the question
That's true.
all the time. Like, it's one thing to ask why don't you want land, but the first question before why don't you want land is, do you know that you can have land? Do you know that the signs that says such and such acres for sale in Georgia, you can also buy too? You don't have to be in real estate. Do you know that six of your friends could put together money and buy these acres?
Yeah.
And the issue is our children don't know the opportunities they have around them because not enough people are telling them that these opportunities exist.
Right.
But to other cultures, they grow up where this is an everyday discussion in their house.
Well,
It's a
and then
culture thing.
it is, but there's also so many things that we can be doing that's so creative. Like we keep on trying to follow their blueprint, and their blueprint, it is leading us to a path of destruction that we're like, y'all could stay on that Titanic. We're gonna just go ahead and find us a new boat. We're gonna roll our little asses somewhere, and we're gonna find a better way to do something. And there are a lot of black people that are talking that way, and that is great that we're doing that.
Hmm.
However, we cannot go backwards talking about. Okay, so every time, I'm not gonna lie, this bothers me. Every time I see a black celebrity, I'm like looking for something that they're gonna be doing that is representing small businesses, mid-level businesses to invest in them, because all the places that they put all their money in now, those places have to start small too. Even if it started with stealing some land and stealing from people and doing lies and then creating a business, effort was there. Okay, so
Hmm.
at this point, at least what we can do is get the same level of effort from some of these black celebrities who actually got their fame from other black people supporting them. Beyonce, Destiny Sharon, all BET. Everybody get past BET, they be like, ugh, BET. Well, listen, okay, that's how you got your way. That's how you got to be seen. So why aren't y'all doing stuff in coordination to actually do something, give back into the community? But instead of y'all keep doing that, y'all keep wanting to go in these damn Met galas in Dolce and Gabbana and all that stuff. They made it already. Okay, help the rest of us.
Yeah.
Abortion stuff come, we are in a situation where we can at least say we have avenues, we have directions to go, because somebody is coming back and putting money into the community. And we're not talking about that stuff right now with this abortion stuff right now. All we keep doing is like getting stuck in I'm angry because okay, be angry, but also be prepared.
Yeah.
I see it as like the Hunger Games, right? And so it's like once you're at the Capitol, you're at the Capitol. Like all like wherever you came from, District 1 to 212 or whatever, that's so far removed from your day to day that you're really only concerned about capital things, like the galas and the the good food and all that other stuff. Yeah, you might
Yeah.
have your district in your heart and you have memories and all that other stuff, but you are still far removed from your district. So, that's just like right now. Like we have to kind of depend on ourselves to move mountains and move the culture and from the ground up because we can't really depend on the people at the Capitol. They're too far. They're too
Yeah.
far removed from us, the people in the districts, to really understand.
Those are the people who feel like their money don't make them the color of their skin no more.
Mm, mm, mm,
Mm,
mm.
yeah, yeah,
That is
yeah.
it
You're
right. And it's not a new thing that people need to realize. So this is the thing that bothers me about what black people be like, oh, all F all the white people and the ancestors. And I'm like, you got some people, possibly, we all might, we don't even know. We might have somebody in our family that's like, yo, this is the business to be in. Like, we need to get us some slaves too. And not to say that there was a whole lot of that happening, but there was some of that happening. And I don't think that mindset dies away. I don't think it just goes away. That's like I don't feel like all these people who stole all this land and stealing all these ideas and co-opting and appropriating and not giving credit and just buying people out and all this foolishness. Like we're not really like dialed in to be like, okay, those people didn't just die out. They have descendants too. They still probably greedy. And sure, on the outside it looks like their lives are fabulous because they have this and they have that. Then people be out here miserable, their kids be on drugs. Y'all don't think about Bill Cosby's son was murdered with a gun, violence. Somebody was like trying to get this rich person's son. And I kept thinking, like, you know what? I don't want to put that much judgment on him. Sometimes the kids just turn out that way. But do they? What kind of
Some
person
of
would?
them do.
That's true. Some of them do. But it's quite peculiar. And I mention this because we also have black men in our communities that get to do whatever they want, and we just keep on
Mhm.
like, it's one that made it, so why not just let him, just hold on to him. Hold on to what? None of us wants anybody in our communities that's going to continue to be a part of destroying it. So
I
now,
mean, that's shit. That's a whole episode right there, Eruth. How the same the same man or woman that had your whole family on crack
mm,
gave you turkeys on Thanksgiving.
mm, mm,
You know,
mm,
gave gave the school money so the kids could have X, Y, and Z.
mm,
So the school could shut the hell up when they selling drugs across the street. Like, it's one hand washing the other hand, and that whole mindset and mentality trickles into every type of consumer position. When you go to corporate,
yeah,
we all know that manager or that CEO that probably be fucking the employees, and he
mm,
never gets fired. He been working here for 15 years because he either pays them off or he just fires whoever talks.
yeah, yeah,
People stay in power just like lawmakers and certain judges. They stay in those seats because they made sure the way that they got in was somebody washing this person's hand, washing this person's hand, getting this person in, and then we in a position where we sit in this position for 30 years. We
mm-hmm,
sit into this position for 20 years before we replace. And we keep up this disgusting mindset of how we treat people.
mm-hmm,
And that's how this shit is still being in conversation. You know how many other things there is to worry about
yes,
instead of abortion in the United
yes.
States?
Yes, yes.
mm,
It's such a distraction. It is such a distraction. It's such a distraction, but it's also so dangerous. It's like, what is the plan? How you don't have no? How y'all go to work to an office in a suit and tie and heels that look like I don't know how they still wear them, and I don't understand how y'all get up in this place and then sit up in there and act like you are doing something every day. What is this? What kind? And then why we can't have the same luxury of acting like we not doing stuff at our job, actually not doing anything but getting paid anyway. Like we all want that luxury, but it's not actually really a luxury. It's harmful. Okay, it's not working. This whole gun thing that they try to supposedly help us. You're helping us, giving more people the opportunity to feel like they can just go walk outside with their guns any kind of way. And I'm supposed to be like, I'm okay with this. No, a whole supermarket, a whole black supermarket, which is hard to find, such a gem.
Mm.
That place was just shot up like nobody's business, and you want me to go outside like a regular, like skipping along the day, and hope that somebody's not out here with their concealed weapon, just waiting for the opportunity. Like, why? First of all, even if that's not true, why does that even have to be a thought of mine? Because it's been a reality for somebody else's. What is that?
You know what America is? America is the epitome of what they did in Texas at that school.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
instead of the police department come forward and say, we let parents down and children down that way, and even our own that day, because we were cowards. They said, you know what? We're going to demolish this school. The school is not the problem. Why are you going to tear down a whole school?
They're trying to tear down the school.
They're going to demolish the school. That's their plan. Y'all, like, they're talking about everything around
Oh my
that day
gosh.
instead of addressing the issue. The issue is y'all stood out there for over 40 minutes while children were being shot one by one and teachers
Mm,
because y'all were too scared to go in for one shooter.
mhm,
And
And the
even your
post.
own one of your own officers, his wife was a teacher in there, and she called him on the phone
mm,
before she was killed,
mm,
and they took his gun and handcuffed him and wouldn't let him in.
mm, 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 mm,
and
mm,
and and they, what kills me, the cowardice part of it that kills me is that they don't even want to represent or stand for gun control, right? I mean, if you're afraid of these AR-15s, then
It's
why?
embarrassing.
It's just crazy just to have them on the streets, and then you're afraid of them. Why not just stand up and say, yes, let's have some kind of gun control where we don't have to face these big ass weapons every day? It's just ass backwards. But that's America, and that's the Wild Wild West.
You know what they did in New York with that gun shit? They put a whole bunch of candy in the middle of a room with a whole bunch of toddlers and said, "Don't touch it, though. I'll be right back." Don't touch it, though. I'll be right back.
Oh
What?
no, that's
Are
crazy.
Yo,
you crazy?
it's I okay. This is the type of stuff that it makes me actually understand and not be so critical of like people who are conspiracy theorists. Not to say, because I have my own, like, but then I'm very shy about talking about it now because I feel like I'm back in the realm of like conspiracy theory thinking, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
are they okay? So okay, I remember when people were talking about like the what do you call it, the whatever they were eating when like children were screaming. There's like a name for it, whatever. Like they were saying like there's these like um this is a conspiracy theory that there are these elite people that go around kidnapping children and then they kill them so they can take the sound of their scream as their energy. It's some like vampire-ish type of
I
stuff.
heard that before.
Yes, but
Mm.
there's a TV show by, what is it called, Doctor Sleep, or what is it called?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't.
It's a movie. It's a Stephen King movie, I think.
It's a Stephen King movie. So I've been watching it and like, okay, it's helping me. It's definitely making me think like, wow, this is very interesting. I don't think all this stuff just comes from somebody's imagination, but it could, and maybe that imagination is also intuitive, and maybe these things are really
Mm-hmm.
happening. So maybe I can't really rule it out. But then you just start to see like other chaotic madness going on, like this thing, like there, first of all, as you said earlier, there are in what's in Indiana, that Netflix documentary we saw where that man, the doctor was basically impregnating the whole city because the men were
Mm-hmm.
staring. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
that was only, those kids are still alive and they're still counting how many kids he has out here. He got kids that's his kids. Let me say that again. He got kids that's his kids from his own kids. Like that's what he,
Mm-hmm.
that type of madness that he was into, and possibly was in this mindset of we have to survive by any means necessary. So this is the crazy shit we have to do. And maybe that's what's happening here. That they're like, we're
Ain't
so
no maybe, Eruth. It's happening.
you
It's
know,
happening.
I believe it's happening, but I'm trying to give people a little bit of like, you know what, perhaps.
Don't be over here giving us blind faith. It is happening. Tierra down here, Tierra knows it is happening. These people, there are sick people out here who would marry their daughters four
Yeah.
times in order
Yeah.
to keep up their legacy.
It's outlandish. It really, I mean, it's outlandish that it's a reality that these things are
You know
happening.
what's so crazy? There's a family that I saw on TikTok. I think this guy was making a documentary of how they're a family of three generations of inbred,
Oh no.
and on each one of them, one of the men, he's like in his 50s. He doesn't talk any words. He his mannerisms are of a dog. That's how he interacts. Another one, the face shows signs of like Down syndrome, but she was a bit older. She only know a few words.
Mm,
And then the mom, and it just shows like over and over again how through ignorance what the results are, through just wanting to make our family so strong, and being able to be around no matter what
mm,
what you do,
mm,
and these people are willing to have that and not have anybody have anything to say about it.
mm. It makes you wonder if that was, what's nefarious about it is that these people know that there has been a problem within the community of incest for a long time, and this is just the way that they address it. Is they've lost their minds now, and so now they're the ones that are in office because the people that are voting them in has also lost their minds too. And it's just like, it's just we're in living in insanity. And I know people say that, and it sometimes I'll just be like, I don't want to believe that, but that's the truth because none of this stuff makes it. Okay, first of all, the whole where we are right now as a country is evidence about how much of a mess the people who have had leadership have been creating generation after generation after generation. And then they got the nerve to be able to try to come and tell us that they want us to be their slaves. Like, you just want everybody to be able to procreate. Like, you don't want to have anyone be able to make decisions on their own. And this is the crazy thing. I do think that people should be more careful about how they navigate through their lives. If you can avoid some shit, of course you should avoid it. Don't just be like, well, I don't want to avoid it because I don't want them to tell me what not to do. Like, just be smarter. Like, it's not working in our favor right now. You're going to have to adapt. Just
Mm.
until we figure out if we actually have anybody that's worth voting for, because it might take some time. We might just be like, you know what, we don't feel passionate about it enough, and blah 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 blah, like we do all the time. And then we find ourselves in the same situation and complaining about what it is. And we've been taking our eye off the prize. We were not electing people that were actually going to go in there and get the filibuster taken away so we can get this reparations we've been waiting for forever.
But you know what's so crazy, Ruth? For the past 4 months, even the people that had something to say about this abortion shit, they were married with children West Side bitches getting abortions. Like,
Yeah,
who are we choosing?
I don't. It's this is going to be a problem. That's another domino effect right there. Is that people don't realize that there's going to be babies popping up all over the place, and people are going to be like, "Who are these?" He had 3 families, y'all. Yeah, yeah, that's what he had. That's what we know he had. We was trying to tell you that, but you didn't want to hear nothing because you just feel like, I don't know what you feel, but I know you don't feel good about these 3 families he got right now. Like, that's
Ugh.
gonna be. Are we ready for that?
That
And
was my whole thing with Trump and Biden. It's just like, what's the third option? What's the third option? You know
girl,
what
we
I'm
need
saying?
another option. That's
Um, but what you were saying earlier with Trump in office, people were loud about how they felt. And I too, like you, I appreciate people being loud about how they really feel instead of hiding how they really feel. Now they're back in hiding.
mm-hmm.
Um I don't know. I don't feel like there's a cure for America's shit.
Yeah.
I feel like the people and the generations will always ride a wave of America's stuff. And every time something pops off, I feel like I'm in that level of Mario where my anxiety starts kicking in.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, damn, put me back in the first level. I'm tired.
It's so true. Like, it just, and then like, I- I just feel like, I feel like every time we have an opportunity to slow down, we're like, let's do the metaverse now. It's like, we don't even have it yet. We don't have it, y'all. We don't have any of it. What are we going to Mars for? What's left here? What are we doing here? Like,
Listen, my thing is like, how the hell I'm supposed to be worried about having a life in the metaverse and I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna pay my rent here?
listen, people are so lost. They're running for another life in another world. What? With Mars, the metaverse, virtual
I
reality.
can't.
That's your house. You in the wall. That's
But the
yours.
crazy thing is, I can't even afford to be in the metaverse because that Octus costs $300. Oculus costs $300, dog. I can't.
So,
I can't even get to
our
the
kids
other
are in bad
world.
shape, yo. Our kids
I can't afford to
are
get
in
to the
bad
other
shape.
world, dog. I'm stuck.
Oh no.
Oh,
It's
I can't.
and then look, these are the same people that be like, I know we're in the Matrix. It's like yes. Why get out of it? We in the real world. We got problems here. Y'all just can be running and running and running. Slow that shit down. It's like really stuff happening right now. Like, it's always right. It has always been like that. Every generation. I remember being in high school and middle school, talk about all this stuff, and people be like, "Girl, you are too young for this party." And I'm like, I do want to party, but I can talk about some shit too. Like, what, we can't do both?
Listen, at every stage of my life, there has been anxiety. You know, third third grade. My friends want to go out and play, and I'm just like, bitch, we got a spelling test tomorrow. We have to study. Like, when do I get to chill?
Right.
When do I get to chill? I'm tired. I'm tired of work. I remember being
Yeah.
like 8 and being in the kitchen of my aunt's house, and my grandma was like, we're living in our last days. I said, girl, this was 96. I am 35 now. I'm tired. How much longer we got?
That's so true. Let me tell you. Let me tell you something. I was so vexed because I said, if I hear one more person celebrate the fact that Jesus is here, it's not here yet. It's not happening. Okay, let's move
Listen,
on from this. Stop this. Enough is enough already. Like, this is fantasy land. Like, we don't have time for y'all foolishness no more. It's real today. Today happened. It started. We in it. Like, we
I
like,
don't I don't understand that kind of hope. That's a different type of hope. I got 2022 hope. Okay. The way that my car payment got swiped out of my account today so fast. I said, "Shit, oh
It's,
man, it's crazy.
what are they
It's
gonna
crazy
do?
out here."
What are they going to do when they are it is multiplied and we are living in basically the movie Idiocracy, and the president is going to tell everybody we're going to grow the food that we lost with Gatorade, not water, but Gatorade. And people are going to be like, we know he knows what's going on because there ain't got to be no other way. There's no water, and it's like, but we could make some. There's a guy that's taking air and putting it through a machine and making water of it, and they vandalize. So when I say they, somebody who's like, we damn it, they figured out how to get the free water again. It's like, hell no. That's it's
I
happening.
saw that.
Yeah.
I'm at the point where I'm scared for black people with intelligence
Oh,
because once the media finds out about them, they end up dead.
yeah. Yeah. Like those two medical students, like that was very like medical students.
Yeah,
Listen,
it's scary,
What's
and
going
they
on
are
with
even
them?
vulnerable. We know that.
the security officer that was at that grocery store, he created a car that ran on water, I think.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
You
he was in the middle of getting a patent.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm exhausted, dog.
It is too much. And that's why I feel like I'm so upset that people are just like, we're just gonna just be angry and that's it, and we don't have no plan, because these people have plans. They've been planning for so long and executing on them plans over and over again. And we are arguing about if somebody is a woman or not. It's like, can we move from here to get to the place with the gun part? Everybody on one accord. Can we do that? Just can we focus on that for a little bit? Because what at least what I see that what happened in January 6th, where those I okay, so in the benefit of the system that we have right now that just locks anybody up for their crimes, these people are having the exact same experiences. Everybody's trying to ask their attorneys to give them a nicer cell. They can't deal with how harsh the situation is. They've been in solitary confinement, and it's like, I'm not gonna lie, I hear that them complaints, and I'm like, so you in prison? Yeah, that's the conditions. That's what they say.
Basically,
That's what they say. They say that they've been saying that for a long time. You want us to feel sorry for you to do what now? No. Okay, we're not going to do that because y'all are out here letting these damn politicians out here who really just want power tell people, you know what, you need to have these babies because we're running out of men that have sperm. Because all the men, Caitlyn Jenner decided that she didn't want to be a man anymore. That's one old man that we don't have no more. Like it, they're losing to suicide, to the transgender situation. It's just so many losses. And now we have this foolishness. So the fact that we could see the losses and we like, you know what? I'm trying to get that canary diamond.
But it makes sense though. But
Is
you
it
have to
me?
see on this. But
Is it
it
me?
does make sense. It does make sense. It's a distraction. That's what it is. That's all it is. It's a distraction from the glooms and dooms of reality and life, and that's what Americans do. That's who we are. We all have our different distractions, and we just some are more expensive than others, but it is what it
But
is.
it makes me understand the people who be like, I don't like Beyonce, and I'm like, what's your reasons? And I'm nobody ever puts it in. Nobody ever like makes you understand the reasons. I just like what she looked like. I got time for this. But now I'm like, no, it's not what she looks like, y'all. It's the fact that she out here singing songs about quitting your job today, and I'm like, but ma'am, your job ain't like nobody's job. So it's not the same thing of quitting over here. But you could definitely sing about, like, I don't know, some stocks, Give us some, like, you can rap, so you can give us some about some stocks inside information, some companies to invest in. You're not gonna name drop no black businesses that are starting. Ma'am, I can't do what you do no more. And I was a Beyonce fan, okay? And I'm just like, ma'am, you're not for the culture. None of y'all are for the culture. It's just you're for the culture of greed, and you want us to believe that because you black, that you're for the culture. And I hate sounding this way because I sound like I might be veering on the lines of Candace Owens, but she's also fake. And they all do it together. They're all in the same group of how can I get $1. I, well, we'll see how these kids' lives go on. Let's see how they go
I
on in foster
I
care
just hope
system.
by the time my children are grown, like at least in their 20s, enough educated young people right now get to a position where they can start to make some change that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
want to hope that I still have all my teeth to be like, yes, finally,
Yes. Yes.
because
Yes.
I don't see it for the next 15 years where things are gonna make sense.
Yeah. I agree with that.
It's pretty rough. It is pretty rough. I mean, it doesn't look good, but I do hope that that we didn't breed a bunch of dummies. So I think the
Yeah,
intellect might be a little bit better. Hopefully, the next generation on, because if not, then they're in trouble.
Well,
listen,
I think that they're the okay. The one this is the silver lining for me, and we can wrap up soon and just maybe everybody give their silver lining. The silver lining for me is the fact that the generation that is here now, the one that's battling, trying to make everybody inclusive and trying to get rid of all these boundaries that continue to divide us. Like I understand. I do understand their position. I do get it. I understand this whole idea of like not fighting people about because of race, like trying to find the collective perspective on the class is an issue. Like all that stuff makes sense. But we're not going to erase all other things just to make the case that there's other problems. Like they're all problems all on the same table that we all need to work on. And but the silver lining for me is the fact that these kids who are pushing that envelope, they are fearless. They don't care what people think about them. They'll call you all kinds of bigots and transphobic and whatever, and you will feel some kind of way like maybe I am. Let me examine everything. But
hmm
what I'm getting out of it is okay, yes, they're being very radical, and maybe we need that type of energy from those kids who are like, I don't care what you tell me. I don't care what you tell me. I should feel like, look like, whatever. I'm going to do everything that's opposite of what you ever told us that we should be. Because some of it is like complete, like to me, is like complete rebellion. Like I'm just rebelling and I don't care. And then others of it is real issues. It's real, situations where people are going with that gender dysphoria and they're trying to transition, all that stuff. Those things are real too. But what also needs to continue to happen is that we do need to at least trust the amount of sensitivity. I know those kids are canceling every goddamn body, but at the same time, I would prefer to have that kind of passion of people who are going to say, you know what, I deserve a right to do whatever I want to do as long as I'm not harming you. And anybody
hmm
that's about that, I'm going to be about that. It don't matter what your label is or all that other stuff. But if we're not paying attention and giving some kind of like, okay, young people, obviously some of the things y'all be talking about is driving me to have a headache. But I love your passion. So what are we gonna do about this? Y'all gonna get people on the ground? What are you gonna do? Like, what's the process? They have a plan. They're gonna be out there. They did the protests in 2020, which was huge because it wasn't just the United States. It was the
hmm
whole world was on the same protest. BLM is a mess now, but the message of what it was trying to represent, that Black lives, lives do matter. When I say that, I'm not even thinking about the organization. I'm thinking about the fact that what was the ripple effect? What was the domino effect in terms of people who had never even thought about saying this thing out loud, who don't look like y'all, any of us, saying it, that yes, to commercialize, but some people saying it to, let me just say this, even if they're saying it to commercialize, it's still being said. The mission, the job is being done. So now it's like, okay, how do we keep reminding ourselves that we do have a possibility to move forward or in a different direction? to look like what it looked like before. It just needs to get done. And
Mm-hmm.
that's my silver lining is let's just trust these kids and their sensitivities and their triggers and the traumas that they're dealing with and all this other stuff is far better with awareness than what we ever had, and that they will do what they need to do to get some of this stuff done. And I do agree with you, it is going to take a little time because these older people, they still hanging on. I don't know what the medication they got, but they hanging on.
Listen, make it make sense.
Yes. So do y'all want to share your silver lining of like what you think is going to be like a positive domino effect out of this situation, or something that we can do to like keep on being a part of getting it in the direction that makes sense for us?
Um, just pay attention and educate yourself. And even if you somebody like me that doesn't watch the news every day, you can still read. Um, be mindful of where you spend your focus. Even if you don't have kids or you have kids, use your brain muscle enough to explore a different perspective that's not your own. So
Mm-hmm.
like Eruth was saying, she's not against abortions, you know, but it's a personal opinion. Just like for me, it's a personal opinion. Me personally, if I did the act of creating a child, I'm taking on the gamble of possibly creating a child. And if it wasn't done by force, I'm willing to responsibly take care of that child. That's why I have two. But at
Right.
the same time, with that responsibility, because I know mentally, emotionally, and physically, I cannot handle another child. I have to do my due diligence, and my due diligence is exploring and educating myself on what my options are.
Yes.
And my option was, because there's nothing medically wrong with me, that I can, at the age I was last year, either get my tubes tied or remove my tubes. I chose to remove my tubes, but at the same time, that is my personal choice
Yes.
to prevent the result of me having another child. But at the same time, with Roe versus Wade being overturned, if I have a ectopic pregnancy where a child latches on outside of my ovaries where a child is supposed to grow, right?
Yeah.
Somewhere in my body, by law, I cannot get medical assistance to have that removed.
Mm.
I could possibly die if that
Yes.
baby begins to form in somewhere in my body. And when you look at this, you can't look at this and be like, okay, now women can't get abortions. It's not just that. It's more than just that. It's that too for me. So you're basically saying I am a mom of two. I'm raising kids. I'm working. I have a future that I want for myself, that I see for myself. I did the responsible thing of doing what I can healthy wise to prevent a child. But if by life a imperfect condom breaks and I have that type of pregnancy, I am not allowed to get medical help to save my life.
Mm.
And that is what happened here. And that is why it's very important for us to educate ourselves full circle on what these laws mean, because a lot of people are looking at this as, oh, it means just this. No, it's more than this. They're basically saying, with this overturned, they can have your phone, your
Mm.
social media, your bank accounts, completely override your privacy as an individual and see what you spent your money on, see what you paid for at the doctor, see when your period was, and if you are pregnant, and are you doing something to prevent this baby from being born? Find her and lock her the fuck up.
Mm. 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 Mm.
And that's why it's very important for people to read, because too many people are looking at this one sided, and it means a lot more than what this is.
Yep.
But continue. Mm.
Want to get to a message and then come back around, Kevin? You can tell us what your silver lining is.
Yeah, sounds good.
Look, at the end of the day, man, I think if a woman generally wants to have a kid, she should make that decision herself. And especially given the circumstances of, unfortunately and fortunately, having the baby. And I'm saying that because you never know what have caused the baby to be born. Not the baby's fault. The situation isn't how it should have been. I just don't think that they should really think so heavily when it comes to abortion and attack on that stuff. I'm not saying it's not a big deal or big case. I just don't see how we should really look at abortion as in we look at guns. You know what I mean? I think it should be flip flopped.
Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I never
That's
understand. Go ahead. Sorry.
no. I was just that's where I kind of want to get into it with. I guess it's just well, not really, just well, not really, not, but just as far as just this whole topic for me, it goes down to politics. I guess for me usually. So just to like Shan said, educate yourself, know what's really at stake. Us having this conversation is good. Having conversations is always good because you get to learn with other people's stories, like Shan just told us. So you know what I'm saying. So you get a different perspective, and I do believe that good ideas bounce off of good ideas are contagious, right? And I think that does spread into the consciousness of the people, and hopefully it'll spread into the will of the people, and actually get stuff done or reverse now. But um, and I was just saying that it falls into guns because just it's all politics, right? And the
Mm-hmm.
politics the politics of this country is dictating this wild wild west atmosphere, so we can't ignore that part of it. So I guess it all comes down to politics to me. Just to and I know it's hard to really trust anybody or to know who to trust, but it's a game. I mean, we just gotta try to play the game and try to play the right way and see what works.
Yeah.
Power and greed got us where we at.
Yep.
Definitely, definitely.
And the people in um, the lay people wanting to be a part of the power and the greed too. And it's that is the trap. Is because there's only but so many people that make. I mean, this whole structure of everything is basically like a triangle. You got the people at the top, and they have their people right beneath them that serve them, and then they have people beneath them that serve the other people, and then before you know, there's a whole billions of people that are all just serving other people because we don't understand that. Yes, they're going to. They're going to catch certain people. They're going to attack people. They're going to do people that are vulnerable. That's what they're going to do. That's just what they always do. And that never stopped anybody, any generation that knew it was worth the fight from fighting. Like it just never did. Like it just and there's different ways. And I think this is something that I think as we like close out and talk through like the domino effect of all this stuff that's going to happen is that people are going to have to get creative again, as we always be creative. And there's already things that's being done right now. People who are investing in like cooperative farming, people investing in that guy that has I forgot his name, the guy that has the machine that can be that can be the air can be taken in and then out of it actual water. Like there are people really trying to solve things. The guy that got killed, the security guard at Buffalo that Chan was talking about, that actually invented a car that we're trying to get to that we can't seem to get to. And that would have been a black owned, if he had his patent, he could have had a black owned car making his own cars. And I was just thinking about the other day, like I'm like, wouldn't it be like why is there not a company that has that's black owned, I mean a car company that's black owned? That's just so strange to me that
We're
we,
not allowed to have that much power here. We're not allowed to be celebrated for our greatness unless it's making majority of who's in power money.
but
Period.
I think if we could though, if we really wanted to, if we had our eye on the prize and we could just stay consistent, I think that we could get there because it's already there's all these black billionaires. I mean, I feel like every week we learn about a new black billionaire, okay? And maybe
Yes,
I'm
but we're not what when we collaborate and we come together like back in the day when we had Black Wall Street, what do? They still haven't admitted the fact that the United States bombed all those people and businesses.
Hmm.
th- that's true, but there's somebody shutting it down either. Like it is starting to emerge. People are talking about Tulsa more. That is good
I
that
mean, we have a black Wall Street here in Atlanta,
yes, true.
but it's not what it was back then, but it is a start.
Because y'all got the Greenwood Bank that's there. That's like starting to blow up with the
Yeah.
Black Bank, which is that's a start because during this recession, there was a lot of black owned, small black owned businesses that black owned banks that did shut down. I don't think that's a coincidence. I'm just saying. I just don't
But
think.
at the same time, like what you said, it has to be some type of uniformity because for instance, Citizens Bank
Mhm.
is a black owned bank, but at the same time, when I opened my bank account in Citizens Bank, the integrity of the people that work there was on some I don't care shit. I don't care about why you're closing your account. I don't care about what problems you're having. I don't care about the upkeep of what this bank looks like. I don't care about the resources you want to have as someone who banks with us. And you can't have that and say, I want other people that look like me to support this business. You still, even though we look like each other, we look like kinfolk, you still have to carry a business with some integrity in order for you to give me my business.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
that's the problem with a lot of us where we have a business and we want the support from people that look like us. But when we walk in the door, it's, oh, it's just you. Let me put my feet up. Let me eat my chips. Let me
Right.
not greet you. Let me have shit all over the place. But if it's a different culture walking in the door, oh, straighten up, such and such is coming. And that mentality right there is my problem.
I I hope with what everything you just said that black people will at least do our due diligence so that our generation are not listening to like our children's children talk about us like we ain't shit. I can't be a part.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a part of that. I do not want to be that. I just everything in me is like I cannot afford to be like so upset about the fact that our parents they fought, they did what they had the Vietnam War, being anti-Vietnam War, they got the weed thing going, like they gave us a lot. They definitely did. We have to definitely pick up the mantle and or the baton and keep on running. And I think that the way that we do it is that we do celebrate that everybody that's in this fight is doing it their own way. And one thing that
Hmm.
black people got to get out of our way of doing is like, well, why didn't you protest it? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? Listen, everybody has their position and their role if they know what it is. Everybody. And if we're all going to adapt to where we're at, then we need to make the decision. I think we all covered this is like, what do we conform to? Like what kind of lifestyle or um environment do we want to be able to say like this is a community that I can be a proud of based off of these principles, based off of yes the fact that black businesses black customers are giving black businesses feedback and giving them a chance to coming back and giving them a chance because we give these other places chance after chance after chance after chance to do all kinds of foolishness. Better Business Bureau don't do half of whatever it's supposed to do, so we're always at the whim of somebody else who has it to be able to take advantage of them having it and not having to ever really satisfy any wrongdoings that they've done against us. And it's a cycle because everybody wants to do what everybody else is. Not everybody, but enough people that are in the many are looking at I want to be able to make money really fast and I want to get into stocks and stocks are great. There's nothing against that. but there are people that are trying to do smart things with stocks, like invest in local communities. And a lot of these big old corporations, they got their money. They're about to turn money. They're about to turn fist over hand in money again with all these stock splits that they did. Nobody's like, we're just kind of like, well, that's just the thing to do. But there are other ways of us doing it. So I think that we all have to decide what part of what we're going to contribute to do we want to conform to. And a lot of people aren't there yet. There's still people that, like that one man said, um yeah, we should invest in private prisons. It's great. There's always going to be a crime. Wow, that's what you think about people that look like you, that still are being oppressed by people who don't look like you. I don't even have it anymore, y'all. It has been a lovely night talking about this. I love the fact that we had the nuance of what we talked about, that it is about the domino effect that has been, it's still, the domino's still falling. We're actually in the line at where we're at right now. So I just appreciate y'all actually having the conversation about all these different layers of these problems that we're not thinking about, that come out of us taking away people's ability to make choices for themselves, because ain't none of us turning off the lights and the lights is going off at the same time. Oh, we in different places. We are not the same. We are supposed to be able to figure it out in our own way. And with that being said, do y'all have anything else that you wanted to put a bow on, talk about what your shows got you got coming up, or anything else? And
Um, well, tomorrow night I'm not doing Loudmouth because Greg's in the middle of moving into his new house, and I'm giving him a brisache. But I am doing a show tomorrow night with my cousin, my favorite cousin, talking about are we waiting for are we settling for Mr. Right or waiting for Mr. Right? So
mm,
that's for single women in the
yes,
struggles right now, making a decision. So that's a show that we're having at like 11 o'clock tomorrow night. Well, tonight because it is Saturday. Uh, Nothing else is going on for me. She Gets It is still dropping Monday and Friday. I have 3 books for podcasting on lulu.com. If you want to check it out, if you go to shambypodden.com, you'll see all the books. But other than that, I'm chilling. We got one message to play before we get out of here. But what y'all got going on?
yes. Same thing. Just trying to get back into building more content. I'm trying to make some concrete plans to just get more into like video making and doing the thing, narrating and building stuff, building projects. Maybe even if I'm hoping to get into some animators and just get to a place of where I'm trying to get to versus where I've been at. But I'm taking it slow. And next month, I think we're going to take more time off just
Mm-hmm.
to organize our lives properly and then really get to a place where I can actually have the time to focus my attention fully on the things that I'm trying to do creatively versus being wrapped up my day job, which I'm always talking about. And I figure this is the time for me to start looking at that vision board and seeing the things that I've been wanting to manifest really manifest, and just taking care of our family. Like our son, my oldest son, he got sick, and we found
Mm.
answers about what was going on with him, and we're just focused on making sure he gets what he needs, and that the kids continue to be able to go to the school that they got into, a really great school, and we're just really like we're trying to count every blessing that we have. Like I don't have all these other things, but my children have a chance, and that gives me space for me to do the things that I want to do, that Kevin and I have been working towards. We start, we stop, we start, we stop. But
Mm-hmm.
we keep getting back on and saying, okay, let's get back to what we're trying to do. And hopefully we can be examples to our children for them to go ahead and decide. They don't have to wait for anything. If they want to try anything, do your baby steps. Take your time.
Yeah.
Keep coming back to it. Keep putting life into it. And that's what we're just trying to do. So we have just the last few shows for June. And then
Mm-hmm.
I think I have like 2 more for July. Just getting into educating people about like the Black condition and stop listening to the okey doke of Black people cause our own problems nonsense. Like that's nice to keep saying that, but that is not the truth, and that's what I'll be talking about for the rest of the month.
Love it.
Message.
Kev.
Yes, the same. Just just gonna take a little break. Me and the fellas with the sports stuff, we're gonna head. We're gonna ramp back up for the off season. So that's my little side stuff. But other than that, we'll be doing the Looking Glass stuff, coming with some really good content and really, just putting the word out there. You know what I'm saying? Just putting good vibes out there. Good content. Um, Try not to always mirror what the people's talking about, but actually just creating the new, fresh, and absurd.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And
definitely. Heard.
just and just yeah, just keep on pushing, and like you're our inspiration because you've really like hit this podcasting world so hard and heavy, and you're very consistent, and that's where we're trying to mirror from you, so.
Yes,
Well, I appreciate it. I'm turning my lonely into money.
yes.
Nice.
No, it is like watching. It's like watching someone. Like I always feel like when that time comes, I'm like, yeah, I know Sharon. Yeah, we're like that's
Listen.
you know what I mean. Like she's the truth about what it means to for people who always be like, oh, I need to be all the way over here. Like we're watching you in real time go through your growth, your journey, and we know that we see people are successful all the time from just taking their time, being consistent, and so just being able to
Mm-hmm.
watch and see that in real time is like that is like gives me life to be like, okay, it's good to have someone that I can look at and watch and be like, I applaud you. Like I genuinely like feel good about the fact that I can see somebody like taking their own destiny in their hands and just moving. And that is like golden. That's like golden to me. So keep doing what you do. I got two of the books. I've been jotting down my notes.
Mm-hmm.
I got two because I actually was gonna buy one from one of my friends who was saying that she was starting a podcast for food and sex, and I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. And I was like, let me get her this book. So I got to meet up with her and give it to her so she can get the opportunity for her to start like seeing how to organize. And I think that's one of the lessons that I've learned from you is that like it's good to be, you say what you're gonna say when that's on your mind, but it's always good to have a
Mm-hmm.
plan and know exactly what it is that you want to talk about, especially if you're passionate about it. And you can
Yeah.
see the difference, when you hear certain things, you're like, okay, some folks are just don't have that around them to be able to say,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sharpening my fine tools because I can see somebody else who is sharpening their fine tools. And whatever that looks like for any of us, like there's so much time for all of that to develop and for that to grow and for it to go where it's going to go. And so meanwhile, we out here talking about some of this stuff and feeling like, this world is I don't know what it's doing, but we're doing what we need to do. And that's what matters. With that,
Love it. Love it. I'm
yes,
using it too. I'm trying to see if the books work to keep you organized too. So I'm never gonna give the public what I don't actually use. So we'll see. I'm gonna play this message.
yes,
Can I really ask y'all guys something since we are talking about politics here? Do you guys think, because one of y'all guys just said something very, very interesting, and that is that everyone has a certain role and a certain job. Like one has a boss, the other person has a boss, the other person has a boss. Would you say that runs the world or necessarily runs the US, would you say a secret organization secretly, runs the United States? Or is it something else or someone else, not the president?
It's a whole goddamn entity, a whole board that's running this
yeah,
corporation called the United States.
yeah,
Of course, yes.
yeah,
It's us.
and
It's us. It's a bunch of people, really.
yeah. We all play it. We all have our role. They organize it, but I also don't feel like at 100% that they always win. I feel like we give that win away all the time. I'm sorry about that. I feel like we give that win away all the time because they know what our distractions are. They study us. They study. It's like an ad. Like this is. It's like America's a marketing firm. and they're just marketing for whatever they want to market, and we're just a part of the marketing, and we just keep getting rolled into that over and over and over again.
We
But
some pawns, okay?
yeah,
We some pawns, and it's kind of like, who am I gonna pick on today?
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, that's life. That's America, the ghetto.
yeah, pretty much.
In the ghetto.
And the gangsters and the gangsters do
The
run the
ghetto.
them some gangsters up
Listen,
there. Okay.
listen.
Yeah,
But some beautiful things come out of the ghetto. So
that's true.
we
Mm-hmm.
just gotta keep this thing pushing. I appreciate this. I miss our talks at
I
times.
know. I know.
Um, we'll do more, and I'm just glad I'm pushing people because you two aren't the only two that I met on this app. Tierra down here, she's always in the show, supporting and giving feedback. I think there's some brilliant people out here that are like minded, and if I can connect with them or find them, that's always a plus for me. So that's why I'm just like, we got something to talk about. Let's talk about it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? We were gonna originally do this show today, and Eruth was like, "You want to do it today? You want to do it tonight?"
Oh,
And I'm just like, "We
tomorrow.
can, we
Like, we
can."
gotta move it. We gotta move it. Like,
Listen, so good things come when they're supposed to come, and
yeah,
all you gotta do is stay ready.
for sure.
Yeah,
For sure.
but y'all want to tell people where to find y'all, and then we could get out of here.
Yayers. So, I just want to say, Kevin, you should not call anything that you do little. It is big because you are
Tell
making.
him. You better tell him.
Yes, you making your efforts, and that's really good that you're working through it. Like, it wasn't supposed to be perfect the first time. It's supposed to go through its processes, and whoever works out and sticking with it is who's supposed to be there, stick with it. And so the fact that you are staying and encouraging people who maybe just need some time to be able to grow within the spaces that they always want to be in is really commendable, and you really should give yourself a lot of credit for just trying to push your what y'all have always wanted to do in the proper place. And I always said that this app it came at the right time when we were asking questions for us to have something that would fit with what we were trying to do. So we are on the Stereo app. That is where our primary place of shows are right now. I'm not gonna lie. I think I tried to go through the other app like podcast process, but I keep reminding my I keep going back to my place of like, what is it that I really wanted to do when I got here, and that is where we're trying to continue to keep going. So I'm not going to give a lot away because in the past I said what I wanted to do, and then I never
Mm-hmm.
took the time to do it because I just like I said it, but I didn't
Mm-hmm.
actually like do it. And I really am starting to say, okay, let me take the time to do everything, and then as I have it completed, I'll go ahead and share it. But the Stereo app is the place for cultivating a lot of ideas, talking to different people, listen to people's ideas, being able to just get elevate myself. Like I'm glad to say that I'm not 100% the person that I was 2 years ago when I got on this app, because I've listened to so many different people and like, oh, I never thought about that. Oh, I just didn't never got exposed to these different types of people. And so the Stereo is the place to be. I believe that we definitely need to, as those of us who've been on Stereo for a long time, that we do need to continue to promote it. I think we put in so much work to get it to where it's at today that we have to
Mm-hmm.
keep doing what we've been doing up until this point, because it is going to pay off. Like we've been here from the beginning. Just let
Right.
it settle in for a little bit. Like, what this is compared to what it's going to be, we're already here. So for that reason, I say please to everybody, if you love what we do on Stereo, please come back, keep listening to those who inspire you to want to go do what you need to do, what you want to do it for yourself, and support those of us who you see that are being consistent, like Shan. Like, support her, keep supporting, keep pouring into her wherever you can, and you're going to learn so much. Okay, like, she's out here teaching and preaching. That's just, I
Listen.
have to say all that to say that this is, it's not it. it can be taken seriously if we want it to be, and it does take time, but it can be. And so we're taking it seriously. Here's the place, stereo is the place that we're going to be putting our focus, and hopefully we get to veer off into something else, but for now this is just the space that I can say I appreciate. So if you want to hear from us, stereo on Fridays and Saturdays mostly. Sometimes before work I might come and do like a solo show, and just for me to be able to like expand on my ideas and what I understand about things. And it just allows for everybody to express themselves and do it in a way without permission. Like, I'm really trying to get us to be cultivated in spaces where we don't have to agree on everything. Like, it doesn't have to be that way, but we should be able to say what we want to say honestly and then work that shit out. And with that being said, that's what it is. So come and catch us on stereo. And I appreciate y'all.
Boom, bang,
Bam.
bang.
Mic drop. Boom.
Yes. So good night, Shan. Have a magnificent show teaching these solo people how to get their lives together and do it right patiently. So when he was supposed to
Listen,
be, he gonna be where he's supposed to be. You know what I mean?
listen. That's a fact.
Mm.
Enjoy
Yeah.
y'all weekend. Be good
Yeah.
people.
Yes.
Be smart people. Keep that head on the swivel.
Yes.
Okay.
Post chisel.
Good
Bye.
night.
Later.